Good evening, everyone. My name is Moises Esparza. I'm the exhibitions manager for the San Diego Latino Film Festival. Welcome to our 27th edition, brought to you via the stream, via Eventive, our new virtual platform. We had originally planned on bringing you this festival in person back in March, but due to the coronavirus, we had to postpone it. And now we're here, bringing you all of our wonderful programming directly to your home, where we hope that you're staying safe, because your safety is our top priority. I'm really lucky and blessed to have the director of Your Iron Lady here with us tonight to participate in a post-screening discussion. Let me welcome Jorge Xolalpa Jr. to the stream, and we'll get going. Hey, Jorge, how are you?
Hi, Moises. Good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you once again for letting us screen one of your amazing movies. I'm a huge fan of yours, if you couldn't tell.
Yes, no, thank you. I mean, I was saying earlier how you guys have been so generous and gracious with me, because this is my third year in a row with you guys. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy and glad that you guys like the film.
Is it going to be 4 years in a row? Do you have something already waiting to be?
I mean, I already. I'm planning to submit my new film that I finished shooting in March. So
did you film it right before the shutdown?
Our last day was March 13th, and then March 15th was a stay-at-home order.
Oh my! Yeah. See, our festival got canceled on March 12th. Wow! So you literally just made it through.
Yeah.
Has the lockdown period been pretty creative for you though? Have you been writing a lot, creating at home or with friends?
The thing with me is that I'm always writing. I don't know why, but I'm always creating something. I think what hit me the most was not being able to be really, like everyone, be able to move around, because this year my production company started taking off and we started optioning projects. We had a bunch of things going on. We have about 17 projects in development, and then just kind of everything stopped. And I did really feel the anxiety of having to be home, because I was home from March 13th all the way to August 18th, which is when I first came out of my house. I mean, I didn't do anything. I just stayed home. I did writing and I did Zoom meetings and whatnot. But I went to Florida for Florida Film Festival. So it did kind of hit me, but my creative didn't stop. I kept writing. And as a matter of fact, right now, as soon as I got the green light, I started shooting a series for Amazon that we finished shooting in 10 days. So I'm happy that I had the chance to set, because I'm a very energetic person to be moving.
That's awesome. No, and I'm glad that you were able to go to Florida and that you worked on this Amazon series, because your creativity is really boundless, and from what I've seen in your movies. Let's get right into talking to Your Iron Lady, Tu Dama de Hierro, the film at hand. Obviously, I want to talk about the inspiration points and let you maybe open the discussion with what this film is directly a reflection of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This film is based on I keep saying short story, actually based on an unpublished memoir by my mom. And she, of course, memoir had more chapters. So I only took 3 of them, which is from 1988 to 2000. And it concentrates on the 3 years in America. I adapted the screenplay based on the chapters. And it is a story, but it's my point of view, which is why you see the child on the film. He doesn't have a lot of talking in it. It's his bad, just silence. And whenever we see him, a lot of the scenes are from a crack of a door, or just he's either in the crowd and just listening. Whenever he's not there, just imagine him behind the door listening to the conversations. So it's definitely a collaboration. I would say from between my mother and myself, and just direct from my point of view how I saw things out.
And it's also not only is he maybe in the margins, but sometimes I feel like he would enter a scene and then they would be like, okay, time for you to exit. So you
Yeah.
definitely got the sense that there was a shielding, a collaborative shielding going on um, by every, I guess, everyone on screen was trying to maybe protect you maybe from the reality that they were living really.
Right.
I want to
But
touch base a little bit more. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, real quick. The reality is that I think that children know. I mean, we just know something's wrong, and we're curious about these things, and we just want to explore and we want to listen. And some parents be like, "Don't be a gossip, no, that's chismoso," like or something. But it's just like you just wonder, and that's why it was directed from that perspective.
So you adapted this from the memoir. Um, I guess that's pretty big undertaking to go and to do, like to try to put your mother's writing into, I'm guessing, a screenplay and then
Yeah.
into a film. Tell me a little bit about this collaboration that you had, or was it less of a collaboration and you, you know, crafted it and then presented it to her? I'm really curious about that process.
Well, I would say it's been a 12-year process just because my mom stopped working 13 years ago and she's been with me since then. And, she lives with me, we live together. And I always told her, like, Mom, what are like, I would always talk to her, your aspiration you want to do. And she's always been into cooking. So she has a cooking show now. She has like, I think it's like about 7,000 followers. Like she has a platform for a cooking show.
That's awesome.
I always said to her, why don't you just write your book, like on paper, write memories, it'll give me a chance to maybe do something, a short film. It's been a process of about 12 years because one day she said, well, I have this whole thing now. And we sat down and I started putting it in the computer, just kind of started looking at it. But she published it just because it's such there's things, there's more beyond those 3 years. I mean, if I could, I would have done a 20-hour film, but of course, no. Or a series, maybe, I don't know. But it came down to I was having lunch with the actors because I really want to make a film that's very silent and that's very aesthetics are very calculated, and we just talked about it and maybe no dialogue at all, maybe just a whole feature film where it's just silence and we just see through there's dialogue around, but she's always observing. And then and she said, well, let's do it. And then I went home and I said to my mom, I said, well, why don't you let me adapt it and let the story about this. And she said that it was fine. She said that she would be willing for me to do it as long as it stayed true and it stayed authentic to what it was. Some of the locations are even locations where the actual events happen. I mean, we went back, that's how deep we went. We went back to the apartment. We went back. Some of the clothing that Valeria wears is the same clothing that it's my sister's clothing. I mean, we've had it for 20 years. Like, kept a bunch of stuff. So a lot of the things that you see on the film are the actual things, the exact wardrobe. And we only had about a month of pre-production. So, it was kind of crazy that we were able to collect all these things, but it worked. And she was on set, helping us all the time and talking to the actors, just because every scene I wanted it to be as authentic as possible and have the feeling. And it was a great collaboration, but I never had a moment where she said, no, or we did have a talk because they were not really on board because it's just so much that they go inside to, like, sometimes you just want to leave the past in the back and behind. But it worked out. I mean, they're all watching. They've been all watching it since we've been screening at festivals and supportive. I think it's just part of the making amends, in closing chapters.
I want to talk a little bit about your relationship with your lead actress, Victoria del Rosal, who, I mean, I may consider her your muse. Maybe you don't.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, she seems to be a muse of yours. And I mean, she does such a wonderful, wonderful job in the film. And I am someone who loves close-ups. I love, love, love close-ups in films, particularly of faces. They are kind of like their own little movie. I think close-ups are they can be a little bit jarring. It can break with the story, but they seem to be like their own maybe contained film within a film or narrative within a narrative. So Victoria's filmed in several scenes in close-up, and the emotion that she's able to emote is just like, it's powerful. Like it reminds me of like Joan of Arc, like Dreyer's film. Like it is so like moving and captivating, and you're just like, okay, I'm experiencing something else, such like an evolution here. That's just my opinion. I'll let you, as the interview, give yours.
I'm not really a fan of close-ups. I
Uh-oh.
really much because I feel like my work. No, in other people's work, I love, but in my work, I like the open. It's just an open. It's a wide, and I just like have immersed in the world. It was in this project. I did it in Valentina, of course, and I had a close up to Sweet Caroline. But in this project specifically, I broke that rule and I went deeper, just because it's very important for me that they understood that there's a lot of monologues that you just can't show that in a wide or in a medium. So when I talked to her, I said, well, first of all, the beautiful part, she have any vanity. Like she'll show up to set and I'll say, I don't need you to wear makeup. Like I need you to drag yourself on the floor, whatever. And she'll do it. She has no problem. And I think we work well together. So when I said to her, this is gonna be shot in 20 days. It's 130 pages, and you're not gonna be wearing any makeup at all. You're gonna be wearing a wig, which I regret. I don't regret it, but I wish I would have done it differently. But that's a different story. But she was pretty cool about the way we wanted that I wanted to direct this, because I explained to her these close-ups are very important, particularly like the scene where she's getting kicked out. I remember what happened in life, and I just didn't understand why I'm so terrified. And then I've seen my mom angry, and I've looked at her, and I was like, oh, well, now I see why. Like, and then Victoria has seen the side of my mom too. So I said to Victoria, I said, well, it's very important that we get this not right or the same way, but I want people, like, they're being kicked out of their house when they're watching this, and it's important. And a lot of it's just been how I saw it too. I mean, when you're placed in a traumatic position, your world just becomes a blur, or become more vivid. That's what I to emote on these scenes.
Well, talk a little bit about your partnership with Victoria, and like what type of relationship you have with her in terms of director, and actress.
Yeah, she's like family. I actually, she is family. I met her through Twitter. I saw her on a TV show, and I met her, and she gave me an opportunity to with me without any experience. And we built a very strong relationship. I mean, her children are like my nephews. She's pregnant right now with twins, so she hasn't been able to go to any festivals or anything like that. And it's funny. She got pregnant, Valentina. She got pregnant after this, and she says, I'm like a charm, because she's having difficulties getting pregnant. This might make a film with you. I got pregnant. I was like, cool. But our relationship is great. I mean, it's a relationship that I wish every filmmaker had, because I can literally call her now and say, listen, like, I wrote a script and it's probably bad, or it's probably not the best, but I want to do it. Let's go out and do it. And even film, and this is not my intentions, but even if the film doesn't go where to go, we're very both proud of what we do. And it's a relationship I wish every filmmaker had, because she's given me the opportunity to grow. She's given me the opportunity to explore, and also discover my style, because my style has evolved from Blue Line Station, which I think you saw. I'm not sure if you.
I did see
Valentina, and then and then with Melancolia, which is supposed to be coming out in next year. She was on set with me. She's not in the film. She's not in this film. But she came on board just to be a coach for young children. It's the young actors school. It's a film about. So she was there, and the fact that we're able to collaborate, even if she's not in front of the camera, it's a relationship that, again, I wish every filmmaker had, because it's a level of support that has no value. It's there, and I know I can count. And I'm sure she feels the same way. I think she's watching us now. I'm not sure, but if you're there, hi, Victoria.
Well, there are definitely people watching us, and they're leaving some comments. You might know this guy, okay. Ethan. He says,
yes.
Thank you, Jorge. And then you definitely know this person.
That's my mom.
It's your mom. Thank you for listening and watching, Teresa. We're very proud of Jorge here at the festival. Well, let's talk about a little bit more, like talking a little bit more about like the characters, the chemistry between Victoria, Alondra, and Malili. Like, is so like it's so amazing. And I'm sure you mentioned you had 130 pages, like a script that's
Hmm.
130 pages long. Was
Yeah,
any of that
yeah.
improvised? Because they seem to like just like really five off each. So there was no
No,
improvisation.
oh no. Just because it's based on true events, I wanted to keep it
Yeah.
my point of view, and also based on the story that my reasons, that you can imagine in the world of cinema. But no, a lot of all of it actually was scripted, and the original film turned out to be 3 hours, and I had to cut it out. I mean, I went cutting and cutting and cutting, just because that scene in the bathroom where they're getting ready. That scene alone was 23 minutes, and
Oh my God.
just
Okay.
because there's a lot of going on, and they're getting ready for another day, talking, and and I remember being in the bathroom and just listening, getting ready, just being part of the environment, and I think why the chemistry worked is because they all just my family. Malili and Victoria have attended gatherings. I've worked with them in other films and the family events, and they've got to know my siblings, my mom. Alondra, on the other hand, and there was something about I always cast by intuition. I never do auditions, and I think I should because I learned in this project the hard way. I had initially cast someone else to play the role of Jasmine, and on the day of her first day, I was lucky that Alondra was supposed to be playing the other role. Um, I forgot so those two girls. She goes to the bathroom, and she gets be with the chancla. So
Oh yeah, the
the
cousin.
other girl,
Was it your cousin or was
right?
it the cousin?
Yeah, the cousin was supposed to be Jasmine, and
Oh
Alondra was
wow.
supposed to be the cousin. So on day on set, I had to do a camera test, and because it wasn't working out, Victoria and the other girl weren't having chemistry, and the other girl, she's a good actress, she's a wonderful actress, but she just wasn't connecting. So we did a camera test, and why I say this because a lot of filmmakers take the risk of doing it. When I went ahead and said, listen, you're a great actress, but you're just not. It doesn't work for me. Not going to jeopardize my integrity. So she understood, and I stay for the other role. That's what I really appreciated because this is the kind of people you want to work with. I remember having an earning with my team, and we were like, "Listen, it's not working out. We got to do a change." And I just knew that Alondra was going to work because the moment she walked out, she just was. It was Jasmine. She was something that I wanted. I feel like I asked the others based on look because the other actors definitely looked more like my sister when she was younger. But on that day, we shot the scene we shoot. Her day, we shot the scene where when my mom finds out she's pregnant, there's just like this whole climatic event, like scene, and props to Alondra because she didn't know any of the lines, like she had to memorize them in like 20 minutes. So then that's where the chemistry went because she had to do one of the biggest scenes on her first day. So working with them three was just amazing. You see it on screen, and they're connected the whole time, and it almost feels an actual, you know, like they're all related.
Yeah. Um, I guess going deeper into the structure of the film, or talking a little bit more about its composition, um, I'd like for you to talk about the square ratio and how I guess that helps us understand this as a snapshot of your life, perhaps. And then I also want to talk about the initial opening scene, which you feel. I don't know if it feels like a stage play. A stage play. I don't know if that's like the most appropriate a term to use, but it does feel like I'm actually like sitting on a couch watching this thing happen in the kitchen, and it starts off not combative, and then it turns into a fight, and it's like this scene that's you have um, characters on both sides, and it's so like well balanced, but there's so much going on. So
Mm-hmm.
as a viewer, you're like, okay, like, am I like, okay, you're trying to situate yourself, and you end up just feeling like you're not only like a fly on the wall, but you're literally like probably in that kitchen. So maybe tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about the shot compositions.
Yeah. So again, I really wanted to feel just what you said, like you're flying the wall, witnessing this thing, and at some point, I want to also make because I think those are moments where you don't want to be there. I mean, um, specific scene, is and you know, and it was literally the day we arrived. The day we arrived. I remember we arrived. It was a late night flight, and we stayed at my aunt's house, and the next day we had breakfast. It was. It took me a while to remember what the fight was about, and the fight was about the way. But the fight initially started because one of them started fighting because the other one from them back in 1996. So we're literally fighting about a gallon of milk that someone has stolen from each other 2 years before that. And that's what, and I didn't add that to the script because I was like, that's just so stupid. Like people are gonna think I'm kidding. And that's what originated the fight. And then that led to more things that happened throughout the fight. And I remember that was actually our first day of shooting when and again, interesting story. My DP, Raquel Gallego, who's an extraordinary DP, I had a DP that was supposed to start shooting with us, and originally we were going to go 235 cinescope, and it was going to be black and white. And I really, and I say this because it's important. I really didn't want it to be that way, but I was working with a DP that was like, "Well, it's doing so great, and you should do it." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't want to do it." And he sort of like pressured me, but I was like, "Hey, he's a really talented DP. I'm going to listen to him. He has more experience than me." A book something horrible left me the day before, and like he put me in touch with Raquel, and Raquel showed up to set, and that's where I first met her. And I said, Raquel, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on board. I want to do this 4:3, and I want the colors to be very vivid. I want this to be remember the night. And she said, okay. She said, show me. Let's go inside. So we walked into the location. She's like, there's like 7 actors. And she's like, okay. And I just can see her freak out. She's like, let's do it. She goes, but what are you trying to do with emotions? Like, are we gonna do coverage? Reach? I was like, no. I was like, just place the camera down, do the bear on the camera, see how we fit it. Right? And that's all. The scene is about 18 minutes. I mean, the really. So I cut and I started a specific. I cut to the climax of that scene. I started. I'm sorry, almost at the climax of the scene, but first conversation, which I just said, I was like, I don't care how we do it. I just want us to make sure that this feels like we're allowing people in my life, like giving them a permission to come into my life and watch from outside the door, from the corner of a door, from the crack of a door, from behind the counter. And it was like, and I don't know how to explain it, but I understand that that's me. And worked really together. I mean, she shot my new film, and we built a really strong bond. I mean, I've had many DPs before, and I think the fact that she was able to just come on set and wing it, because that's pretty much what we did. I mean, we had a budget of $1,000 that only punches. So you know, that was pretty much. I mean, I don't know if you were like technical answer, but all I said to her was, I just want to make sure that the audience feels like they're invited into my, and that they could be watching this from home, like they could be watching this on the couch, they could be watching this literally, like a play, but you know.
Yeah. I guess there was a scene also like of the fight between Teresa and Alondra when they're sitting on the couch. And I think Jorgito's is Jorgito in the middle? I'm sorry, I don't remember. Is Jorgito in the middle?
Yeah.
And I mean, that scene was just, it was really breathtaking because there's like so much dialogue that's really like heavy and strong. And then you have the arrival of the father figure, and he starts getting physical with them. And you're just like, this is a really like, I don't know, I think it was one of the most intense sequences that I've seen in a movie in like a really, really long time. And maybe it's because the camera lingered for so long with just Teresa and Alondra, and then to have this kind of like this eruption of just like physical anger, it struck me as like it struck me as shocking. It like kind of pulled the rug out from under me. Can you talk a little bit more about that particular scene?
So, and real quick, going back, you were asking me earlier because I just remembered too. I remember, and it goes to the next question. I told Raquel that I wanted the earthquake value. And she, what is that? I was like, well, you could be cooking and an earthquake hits you, and then your life is over if it's a really bad earthquake. I was like, you just don't know. It's really unexpected. And she's like, why can't you want an unexpected feeling? I was like, because if I say unexpected, anything can be unexpected. But when you be earthquake, it's literally unexpected, And that's how we pretty much tackled the whole film up until when it gets to 2000, when things get better. But in particular, I've had several screeners, and there's been a lot of mixed feelings about that. I've had many people say, I don't like it because she never looks at her daughter. I would never do that. And then I have people that say, I understand, because when I'm with my kids, I don't them, because I don't want to say something I'll later regret. And it's a very cruel thing, because mom, Teresa, it's really laying it out on her. She's saying, listen, you're either on board or you're not, but I'm not going to wait for you to be on board. That's like, and I love you. It doesn't mean that I don't love you any less, but you need to get on board, because we're not here on vacation. We're not here to party. Like, if we do, and she doesn't say it in those words, but she's pretty much saying, if women do that, they don't get awarded for it, And we did about 27 takes of that just because of the camera movement.
Wow. Okay.
We had to do it's a take. I mean, it's a whole one take, and again, the scenes are long. We let the camera rolling for a long time. The original scene starts where it pans to the mom, and Jorgito's there, and they're watching a film for like a minute, and then Alondra comes with Han, and then she comes back. We stay with him 7 more minutes, and Jorge comes, and then the whole thing comes, and then I had several decisions on the cutting room, because I couldn't. From my perspective, I would have loved it to leave at 3 hours, but that was just never going to happen. But I watched it again. I'm really happy, satisfied, because it gets to the point, and that's a very special scene, because did she listen to her? Maybe she did. Of course she goes on, she gets pregnant, but I think that's what really made my sister strong. My sister now, she has 4 kids, and she's one of the mothers I've ever met. She's white, and a lot of people didn't have faith in her. A lot of just going to become this chola who's not going to do anything of her life. And my sister she's one of the best mothers ever. She's a stay-at-home mom. She cares for her children, and she, not that my mother was an amazing mother, but she always says it. I'm always going to stand up for my children. Something that my mom never really did, because she didn't like confrontations. But again, it doesn't mean that she didn't love us. Look at us now. I think she did a good job.
Oh, sorry. What was the last part you said? Sorry, you cut off a little bit.
No, I said that I think that my mom eventually, I think that she did a good job. If I look at all my siblings, we're very blessed.
She did an amazing job. I guess talk a little bit more about where the story begins and where the story ends. We begin the film in a home that is not your family's home, really. It belongs to your aunt. The film ends in your family home, really, with your whole, I guess, immediate family, except the father figure there. But it ends in a very emotional, and I guess I should say, what's the word? Trepidatious place. You don't know what's the future, what's going to happen. And she just received the breast cancer diagnosis, and she had an operation, and she sits on the couch, and she bawls with her children in close up, and you're just left to wonder, what is this place where we're living the movie? Leaving the movie. So tell me a little bit about the beginning place and then the end place of your film.
So the cancer wasn't added in the script. That one I added as we were shooting, because the original, my sister giving birth, but my original idea was we cut her, and then we cut to my sister actually giving birth. We shot those scenes, and then from there we cut to black, and then we cut to the actual footage of my sister, because my mom recorded stuff when my sister gave birth. So I was going to replace the end. The ending was going to be the rolling credits with the original family. but my sister, those all the videos got misplaced, and we left it where she gave birth, and that was it. And I just felt like I was like I was like, that'd be the end. Like there's more to happen after that. We had a happy moment, and she got that diagnosis. And to me, it was just kind of saying, look, I've survived, abuse, and I've survived in an industry that I know nothing about, and I, potentially can here. Like that's kind of what I wanted to understand. Which is very difficult because my mom's not a public figure, and it's really difficult for people to connect when someone's not a public figure, because they can say, well, what's about that? Woohoo, she survived, but the whole trajectory of like what she goes through and how she's just constantly fighting, and everything that the system has, the system built is pretty much set up for her to fail. But she goes against that, and she survives, and she wins, and she grows. It's important, and I think of a reason why, or if there's a hidden or why I want it that way, other than this is what women go through on a day-to-day basis. They get put down, and then we go through like a whole era where like women were a trend in Hollywood, and I was just talking about this earlier. It's not a trend. It's like we all come woman, not. I want people to understand that these are the hardships that they go through, and what a better way than to show it through the point of view of my mom. I still see her sometimes. Like right now, she's 65, and she's still standing, and doing, creating. She's in a new chapter of her life. She's creating something for herself, which she never had a chance to do when she was married. So that's very powerful. Again, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I wanted, and that's how I see it. Just because life goes on, life goes on beyond the tragic. Life goes on beyond the news, beyond the adversity of how you're treated in this country. So that's what I want. I wanted people to just survive, and that's to me that's the biggest win, that she survived.
Yeah, the film is such a beautiful ode to your mother and to your family's personal experience, obviously, but I think it speaks universally to the many experiences of immigrant families when they first arrived to the United States. And it's really made me think about like my family's experiences and my experiences. So I felt like an automatic connection to the film and what you were trying to tell. I wonder, as maybe an artist's thesis or a creator's thesis or a filmmaker's thesis, what about the immigration experience do you hope to convey with this movie?
It's difficult to just think of one other than the willingness, of wanting to have a better life. I've never believed in the word, hate that word. But if it's better to kind of show that, it would be through this film. Just because, again, it's clear that the film ends when she comes home after the surgery, right? The big thing is that life goes on, and she's still alive, and I think that's the American dream: being able to just live at peace, live. Whether you're rich or poor or middle class, just live at peace. I just don't understand why there's always the idea of like suffering, which there is. There's a lot of suffering in immigration. I mean, I know it. I'm not gonna like. There's a lot of things going on, but just to take from it, just that life goes on, whether it be here or Mexico. If I went back to Mexico, I'd pretty much be immigrating back to Mexico. And I would probably be suffering. I would probably be going through the same hardships that I would be going if I had just come here. So, just that this is how it is. I saw a comment earlier from someone that hopefully people in Mexico can see this, so they understand that coming to the U.S. is not as easy as they think. And that really made me think, because there's a lot of people that believe that just coming to LA, you make money. You make dollar currency, and it's easy. It really isn't.
Yeah, That is definitely a perspective that I think that I've even gotten myself, where they think it's I don't, there's maybe a experience that's projected about America where you've made it if you've arrived, but when we arrive as immigrants, we're rebuilding from scratch. It's almost like being we're
Purgatory.
born. Yeah, it's like, yes, because there's not a sense of belonging anywhere. You're not where you were born. You're not accepted and fully accepted in this new country. If
Mhm.
you're in DACA like myself, also, like, you're not a citizen. You are able to get a job for now a 1 year period, but there's such a sense of like, it seems like these things are dictating our lives and saying like, in a year you don't know where you might be, and
Mhm.
it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And you mentioned that if we had to go back, it would be like immigrating back, which I guess I've never thought about it like that. Like, what really would that mean for me? And I'm sure a lot of immigrants have these same thought processes. Um, but yeah, I guess, have you ever seen have you ever looked at your immigration status as a barrier for your creativity, or have you always fully embraced the creativity and known that it was going to move you forward?
Well, the thing is that I've always seen, and it's I always get mixed feelings about this because I've always seen it as a paper that helps. Of course, I mean it helps us a lot. It opens doors. I will never deny that. But I always say this with I'm bound to succeed because whatever comes out from whatever I use in my career or I create, that comes from me. It doesn't come from status. And I guess it's, it's wrong for me to say it that way because there's a lot of people that have a different point of view, which I also understand. But what am I like? I always ask this question: like, what am I supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to sit and cry about it? I'll give you an example. I start shooting a new film on October 17th. I do a film every February, but I can't shoot next February because I'm doing a series for Amazon. So I'm shooting in October, and 20% of it takes place in Mexico, and I can go to Mexico. Uh,
Wow.
so I said, well, I'm going to direct it this time, and everyone just looked at me like, what? I was like, yeah. And I guess I was so chill about it. People were freaking out, and I was like, I'm going to direct 80% of that film via FaceTime. And then after that happened, my boss took opportunity. She's like, well, I'm gonna spin this. I was like, you do whatever you want to do. I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna my film FaceTime. So, there's no obstacles. I think the obstacle starts or struggle when we acknowledge it. I could have been like, oh man, because I've done it before. I mean, I've gotten offers to go shoot in Spain or like South America or just, and it's always come down, okay, but I can't. So I've either passed or we don't even visit the idea. But this I said no, I can. I mean, if we're going through this pandemic, and if there's something we can take from it, is that life goes on. Whatever happens, life goes on, and we figure it out. So there's an opportunity to say, listen, this is how we figure it out. I will direct via FaceTime, and I think that's just it speaks to my point that me personally, myself, I don't I don't wait. Like, I'm not gonna let status hold me back. It's scary, yeah. It's definitely scary to think about because you and I know how the immigration works here. 1 year really means months for us because that means we just have to be renewing every 6 months because that's just how long the system takes. But either way, it's going to be a hardship. But we have two options: we either go through the hardship, get stuck with hardship, and I choose to just move with it, because I have no choice. And that's having no choice is actually no choice. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, or your inspiration to me and hearing that really is soul affirming, because sometimes I feel like I get in the dumps about the situation, but you are a beacon of creativity and an inspiration source for myself, and I hope many other aspiring filmmakers. Um, your Iron Lady is getting a lot of attention, and recently there was a write-up regarding the Golden Globes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel? How does that type of of attention make you feel? It doesn't seem like you're someone to maybe think like you've made it, because it seemed like you're always working towards like more and more and more. So how does this type of of attention like affect you? Like, do you feel like, wow, this is a milestone, or is it like more and more and more?
It's really weird because I've always been very open about saying I'm gonna win an Oscar one day. I'm gonna win a Golden Globe one day. But I always say, like, I'm just very like confident. Like I did an interview recently, and I said, look, there's no doubt I'm gonna win an Oscar one day. But that's not the point. I remember that was my line, and they used it for a promo, which I wish they would have not, because it's so out of context. But I've always said that. I know I'm gonna win an Oscar, and I know I'm gonna win a Golden Globe one day. When, I don't know. It'll be when it'll be. But when this, and I mean, when my trailer was, they shared it on the Golden Globes, and then I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, I mean, I was excited. Like, that's cool. But in the last 3 days, we went viral, and like it's gotten more than like 80,000 hits now, and I was formally approached to submit the film for nomination, and formally, not, yeah, that's what I meant, yeah. Formalmente. I always confuse that word because in English I feel like it means two things. Formalmente, I was approached. Is that how you say it? Formally? Like, no, officially.
Formally, yeah.
Officially.
Officially, yeah.
Approached to submit. I did, and next thing you know, now we're going for it. I mean, I have a really amazing team that really believes in me, which is cool because I don't think I could do this alone. And let me tell you something, Moises, whether or not, to me, this is just a win. This is just a win. And I'll tell you why it is that we started getting so much attention. It is because of people like us, dreamers. Like, I ended up sharing trailer in a group page, and it just went viral. Like, all my dreamers, everyone just started sharing, and then we were trending in Canada this week, which is great to think about. Like, I woke up and I had all these messages from Canada. Like, people were in Canada, like, when is it playing? And I was like, well, wait a minute. And I was like, you know, I filmed. So we'll see what happens. You know, I will tell you this, I'm definitely throwing my hat in the game. I'm gonna go see what happens. You know, it won't hurt. But yeah, there's a lot of things that are being written about it, which is good. It's surreal. And my mom is really excited too, because she's just like, what is happening? She's like, is this real? I was like, I guess.
We have a comment coming in. You may know her, maybe not. Ari Live, regards from Mexico.
Maybe. I mean, I've gotten a lot of, today's been a day. Like, I respond to everyone. So hi, hola, yeah.
From Mexico.
Yes, but no, I'm excited, Moises. I don't know what's gonna happen, and I don't want to say what I feel that's gonna happen, but I have a good feeling. That's all. I have a real feeling, and I'm wrong. Everyone, my feelings.
What's the process of like being officially approached? Like, what happens next? Maybe to any aspiring filmmakers who are listening in, and who what you're going through, of what you're going through as a goal for them. Like, what is the process when they ask you to formally or officially submit the movie? What happens now?
So now we wait. I have a couple screenings for the Hollywood Foreign Press members and for the MPAA. You know, which is I think this stuff happens for a reason. Like, the universe just has everything planned. These they're called campaigns. They could be really expensive. They can go up to $3 to $4 million. They're almost as expensive as a presidential campaign. And of course, I don't have that kind of money. But I'm going to use my grassroots movement, how I do my film, to make this game, because everything's happening right now. It's organic. I mean, the fact that we're like, if you go to the Golden Globe site, you'll see like not even Batman has the kind of views that our trailer has. Comments, people wanting to watch this, and you know, in another time, I could say, oh, it's family members, but my family doesn't. They're not even in those comments. Like, this is just people that are really interested in watching this film. And the cool part about it is that when this happened, we actually got a call from a studio that's interested in buying Iron Lady, and they made an offer. So this really changes the game, because and this is a major studio that, you know, everyone will find out eventually, because I said to my manager, I was like, yes. I was like, why are we saying no? It's like, okay. He's like, well, slow down. We'll get it. We're going to do it, you know. But but it's a good thing, and that speaks, I think. Well, it doesn't speak. I want people to understand, filmmakers, because that was your question. That I started with a phone 4 years ago, and I didn't think I would be in this position now. And just because these campaigns can cost $1 million, $3 million, $4 million, it doesn't hurt anything to just try it out the way I'm doing it. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, I won't get nominated. I mean, I'm not nominated now. I don't have a Golden Globe, so it's like, okay, I'd rather just give it a try. But the process is it's very extensive. I mean, there's an application, and the application needs to be approved, and then once it's approved, they issue screening dates, and then you have to have several screenings for several members. And there's a lot of rules, like you can't give gifts to these members, but you're allowed to throw parties, which is ridiculous because it's like, okay. But thanks to COVID. I mean, not that COVID's an amazing thing, but again, I believe that everything happens for a reason, because the moment the pandemic hit, something went through my head, and I won't tell you what went through my head, but I can just tell you that I'm living it. So
that's amazing.
So it's it's just it's just weird.
How can people contribute to any grassroots campaigns that you launch in your effort to get the nomination? Like, how do people find out about you? Is it all social media? Is it the Your Iron Lady website?
Yeah, it's just go on our Instagram and share the trailer. Share with your friends, share with your family. We're gonna have more screenings, and watch the film. I think a lot of aside from the story about an immigration story, it's just about a mother, and those are universal. And the only, we're not asking for money. We're just asking for you to watch the trailer and share it. And we've gotten really good feedback. People really are excited, interested to watch this film. And that's how they can help. Watch, share it, talk about it, ask for it, and then it's there.
And then, is the Instagram Your Iron Lady just all in one word, or what's the Instagram? I'm gonna throw it on screen.
Your film.
Your Iron Lady film. Okay. Let me see if it's right. Does that look right on screen?
Yes. At Your Iron Lady film. Yes.
Perfect. Well, Jorge, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for your films. I'm amazing that all of this amazing buzz and interest is happening. Like you, I think you are a testament to many of how hard work pays off, and how starting off, like you mentioned, with an iPhone or a phone for your first movie is just like the first stepping stone into a really amazing film career, an independent film career that I hope reaches many people far and wide. I hope you savor this moment and enjoy it, because I think great things will happen. And I don't know if you have any last words you want to share with people, any parting words. I always say last words, but I always think parting words. So any parting words with people listening or watching?
I'll say what I've been saying lately since this pandemic started. Life goes on, so just smile and enjoy the moment. Because honestly, that's my sister. Life goes on, and enjoy the moment. One moment we're here, one moment we're not. I mean, I know it has nothing to do with film, but just don't have any expectations. That's it. Enjoy it, because if this pandemic has showed us something, is that we need to be more empathetic and go out and vote. Please, people, vote.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Well, Jorge, again, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. You always have a place in this film festival, and when you make it big, I hope that you still consider us. Thank you so much for your participation, and to everyone listening and watching, good night. And well, thank you to your mother, Teresa Ramirez Galan, for, I guess, writing the memoir that this was based on, because it's such an amazing story. So a lot of love to to your mother and obviously to you for creating this film. Thank you so much, Jorge.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.